Everyone remembers the PlayStation, but before it, Philips launched a console that should have won. In the early 1990s, the digital landscape was a wild frontier. Computing power was exploding, disk storage was revolutionizing media, and companies like Sony and Nintendo were locked in a fierce battle for the future of home entertainment. Amidst this technological gold rush, an unexpected contender emerged: Philips. Philips, a Dutch electronics giant, saw a gap, not just for games, but for something far grander: an all-in-one multimedia hub, a device that would blend education, entertainment, and information into a single, cohesive experience. They called it the CDI, Compact Disc Interactive. Their ambition was staggering. The CDI wasn't just another game console. It was a vision of the internet-connected, multifunctional living room device that wouldn't truly arrive for another 2 decades. It aimed to be a CD player, a photo viewer, an encyclopedia, and a gaming system, all rolled into one sleek, expensive package. The initial launch, in October 1991, was met with a mix of awe and bewilderment. Priced at an astronomical $700 equivalent to over $1,500 today, it was squarely aimed at the affluent early adopter. This wasn't a toy, it was a serious investment in the future. Philips had a strong technological foundation. They were, after all, co-inventors of the CD. The CDI leveraged this, using specialized CDI discs capable of holding vast amounts of data, significantly more than the cartridge-based games of its rivals. But the dream quickly collided with reality. The hardware, while innovative, was clunky. The primary input device, a remote control resembling a VCR controller, was ill-suited for gaming. Precision was an afterthought, responsiveness, a distant dream. Then there was the software. Philips had made a fatal miscalculation, believing that the future lay in interactive movies and educational titles, rather than dedicated gaming experiences. They underestimated the burgeoning demand for fast-paced, engaging gameplay. Their content library was a strange mishmash. On one hand, you had genuine innovations like Treasures of the Smithsonian, a sprawling interactive museum experience. On the other, you had the infamous Hotel Mario and Link, the faces of evil. These Nintendo titles, developed under a short-lived, ill-fated partnership, became a symbol of the CDI's content struggles. They were widely panned, their animation crude, their gameplay frustrating, and their voice acting, well, memorable for all the wrong reasons. The partnership with Nintendo was a fascinating footnote. Nintendo, initially exploring CD-ROM technology for the SNES, had briefly considered Philips after a falling out with Sony. The resulting CDI games are the only official Nintendo-licensed titles not developed by Nintendo themselves. The market, meanwhile, was shifting beneath Philips' feet. Sega's Genesis and Nintendo's SNES dominated the gaming space, offering immediate, visceral fun. Sony was quietly developing the PlayStation, a console that would prove the power of 3D gaming and CD-ROMs. Philips clung to its multimedia vision, refusing to pivot towards pure gaming. They believed the public would eventually catch up to their sophisticated concept. This stubbornness proved to be their undoing, a classic case of product-market mismatch. The CDI struggled for years, receiving multiple hardware revisions and price cuts, but never gaining significant traction. Its sales figures were abysmal, estimated to be less than 1 million units globally over its entire lifespan. A stark contrast to the tens of millions sold by its competitors. By 1998, Philips quietly discontinued the CDI. It faded into obscurity, remembered largely as a punchline, a cautionary tale of corporate hubris and misjudged market trends. But was it truly a failure of vision or merely a failure of timing? Because, in many ways, the CDI was genuinely ahead of its time. Its focus on digital video, interactive encyclopedias, and a single device for multiple media types foreshadowed the streaming boxes, smart TVs, and tablets we take for granted today. Consider its features: full-motion video playback, internet connectivity via an optional modem, photo viewing, and educational software. These were revolutionary concepts in the early 90s, when dial-up was still king and digital cameras were niche products. Philips had correctly identified the direction technology was headed. They saw the convergence of media, the power of interactive content, and the eventual ubiquity of digital information. Their mistake wasn't in their foresight, but in their execution and market strategy. The hardware simply wasn't ready to deliver on the vision at an affordable price point. The internet wasn't fast enough, compression technology wasn't mature, and consumers weren't yet accustomed to the idea of a multi-purpose entertainment device. Furthermore, Philips tried to be everything to everyone, and in doing so, became nothing special to anyone. They failed to carve out a distinct niche, trying to compete with both dedicated gaming consoles and nascent PC multimedia applications. The CDI serves as a powerful reminder that innovation alone isn't enough. Timing, pricing, market understanding, and flawless execution are all critical components of success. A brilliant idea, launched at the wrong moment, can be catastrophic. Its story is a testament to the brutal realities of the tech industry. For every iPhone, there's a Newton. For every PlayStation, there's a CDI. Products that, despite their ambition and technical prowess, simply couldn't find their footing in a rapidly evolving world. Philips, a venerable company with a long history of innovation, made a bold bet on the future. They saw the coming digital convergence with startling clarity. But in their eagerness, they jumped the gun, arriving at the party before anyone else, only to find the doors weren't quite open yet. The CDI's legacy isn't one of outright failure, but rather an early, expensive blueprint. A cautionary tale that reminds us the path to innovation is littered with the carcasses of products that were too clever, too ambitious, or simply too early. It remains a fascinating example of how a company can accurately predict the future, yet still stumble spectacularly in the present. A testament to the fine line between pioneering vision and commercial disaster. Discover another company that got the future right, but the present wrong, in our next deep dive.